yeah, go hit up our boy Mace. He'd be glad to
He's on the
chat
case.
with you. All right, it's noon. Cecil's been teasing us, telling us he's got the game plan. I love that you've dialed it down to specific Cortland Sutton routes that you think and know we're going to see tonight. So, Cecil, the floor is yours. Tell us what to expect.
Yeah, Sean Payton gave it away because they're going to play the hits. He'd said that this week, like, hey, on a short week and limited time for preparation, you've got to go with what players are comfortable with, what you're comfortable with calling and what players are comfortable with. Now, fully expecting zone defense from the Chargers because it worked with the Colts and it frustrated Bo Nix. But that was with deep shots. So tonight, and last week I told you it's quick slants and those worked, and then they stopped doing it. You could have kept that up. This week it's a deep in-breaking route with Cortland Sutton. We're talking about 15 yards behind the second level of the defense. Okay. So behind the linebackers, Cord will just come in and they'll in a zone, they'll have a bracket over there, but he can run down the field, make it look like he's going out or a 9 route, and then he'll in-break right behind the linebacker. Bo can hit that over the top. Those will be the big plays. So the strikes down the field, the shots to Troy Franklin they take or Sutton they take sometimes, that's not going to – it shouldn't be dialed up as much. Let's say that. What's going to work is the shorter stuff, the intermediate stuff, of course, and any sort of Texas route or a screen pass, that type of stuff with Marvin Mims. But for Cortland Sutton specifically, I want everyone to watch for the deep in-breaking route tonight because when Sean Payton said, we got to do what everyone's most comfortable with, I thought, what's the number one play with Cortland Sutton? It's a deep in-breaking route. I'm fully expecting deep in-breaking routes against that zone coverage tonight. So with Sutton, the guy that could, 121 yards away?
122.
122 yards away. Don't make me do math. I think he could get that tonight. I think we could see Cortland Sutton over 1,000 yards receiving total for only the second time in his career. Correct me if I'm wrong. That would be his fourth 100-yard game of the season. He came into this season with only 4 100-yard games. So I think it's a Sutton night, but the deep shots you're expecting, don't look at the downfield 9 routes, go ball stuff. Maybe a Marvin Mims here or Troy Franklin, maybe. But for Sutton specifically, it's 15 yards. He breaks it inside. You throw it over the linebacker in front of the safety. First down Broncos.
Okay, absolutely love that. And I mean, talking about 15 yards in routes, you catch a few of those, you're getting close to that 100 number.
Yeah, it won't take much.
That we're talking about there. So I absolutely love that. No, they're going to be without Jaleel McLaughlin, Riley Moss, which we have known. So throw the football, get Cortland involved. I mentioned this to you yesterday, and it kind of goes in line with what you're talking about. I'd love to see this early and often. Yeah. Cortland and Sutton had 9 targets and only got 3 catches last week. Now, he's not a guy that's going to lose confidence. He doesn't even lose confidence if he has 0 targets and 0 receptions because he's comfortable in his role and who he is. But, man, let the guy get going early and just see how much he can eat against this poor Chargers, or not a great Chargers secondary. Their top talent is in the interior defensive line there. And they have a solid safety as well. But get him the ball early to just get him going. Get him engaged. And then it makes the safety. I'm going to take a step over here because Cortland Sutton's on that side. And then you do have Marvin Mims or a Troy Franklin testing the water on those deep routes from time to time.
Yep, and you've heard me say it before, but if you wanted a little more Adam Troutman, it'll be there. And if that happens to be Lucas Kroll, that would be there as well. So, and it's comfort. You mentioned like getting him going, right? It's comfort. These guys are on the same page. So much so we've actually seen Bo try to force it to Court a little bit too much, as you mentioned. Yeah. He's looking at Court's side, and that's about it.
He never moves his head. You can watch the progressions not
So now use full field reads, which Bo can do. It's short and intermediate stuff because it is zone coverage, and then get that deep breaking in route to Cortland Sutton. That's the way to move the ball through the air. So, about 2, we'll do our prop bets, but 225, something like that for Bo. Right. That sounds about right.
Well, and we talked about his 61 yards rushing before. It almost goes back to, again, this is on Sean and how much conversation they're going to have about what he's asking Bo to do. But with how good the Chargers are at getting pressure on the quarterback, 40 sacks in the NFL, 8th best, it's maybe 2 progressions, and then you're either running or you are taking it's Marvin over there as a check down, or it's Javonte, Audric, whoever personnel-wise is there. You're not going to have the long pocket presence and opportunities to let a multiple deep cutting routes develop downfield.
Right. So take what you can get, and that doesn't make you a robot. For the love of God, everyone out there has to just stop saying that Bo Nix is a robot, because he's not.
I mean, see, they win this game. Everybody's just got to stop saying anything about Bo Nix except for that it's a damn home run pick with the 12th overall selection and a 6th quarterback.
Yeah.
You've got no ground to stand on after tonight.
Yeah, and you had asked me earlier in the show, like, what do the haters say or the doubters say? Yeah, I mean,
there's nothing left. That they're standing on this little tiny, like 2 foot by 2 foot square inch spot of quicksand.
Yes.
That's where they're standing right now. And after today, it's gone if they win this game. They got to win now.
Right.
But if they do, there's nothing else to be said.
Yeah, and I mean, the Chargers are going to the postseason, so you can beat them. This is a playoff game. This is for your playoff chances, which you have not yet secured. It's 91% chance. It's pretty good odds.
Yeah.
But we also have seen this before with the Denver Broncos. If you remember the year that Peyton Hillis tore his hamstring, and I believe it was Mike Shanahan's last year, where they had 3 games to go. They just needed to win 1 to get to the playoffs. And this is all of those final Shanahan years. And Kev, you can pull up the records for me. But of those final few Shanahan years, it was always like 8-8, 8-8, 9-7, whatever. But that year, the final Shanahan year, it was like, just make the playoffs and we'll continue this. Peyton Hillis shreds his hamstring on a throw because he jumps up to get it, and he caught it, but then he shredded his hamstring. They lost the last 3 games of the season. They did not go to the postseason. Mike Shanahan gets fired. Lifetime contract, Mike Shanahan gets fired. And they move on to Josh McDaniels for the love of God. And that causes a little misstep there, and they get it back, and Foxy comes in and all that. But, like, we've seen this before. I don't want to be a doomsayer or alert their bells, but we've seen the Broncos with 3 games to go, needing to win 1 game to get to the playoffs and have them miss it.
I was at that last Mike Shanahan game, and it was so, like, I don't know of another word besides uncomfortable in the stands amongst Broncos country. Me and my buddy Dave, I always talk about the egg loss.
Yeah.
We took the bus down there because we were going to do stuff down there, and you take public transportation when you do that kind of stuff. And it was so freaking cold that day. I remember, like, your drink would freeze over. You'd have to, like, poke holes in it just so you could drink it. But at the end of the game and in that fourth quarter, I'm telling you, dude, it was awkward and uncomfortable to just be amongst Broncos country because we all knew what was coming.
I was going to say, did
Everybody
y'all know?
knew. Everybody
Did y'all
knew.
know?
Yeah.
Wow.
And it was weird. Like, I'm getting an eerie feeling right now thinking about it.
Let's quickly move on from that. But Kev, what was that 3-game stretch there of that season?
It was Buffalo to end, I believe.
Yeah, I believe so, yes.
They lost at Carolina, to Buffalo, and then they finished at San Diego and gave up 52 points.
Yeah, so I was at the Buffalo game.
You were at the Buffalo
knowing,
game.
Hey, they're going to go to San Diego. It's already kind of not written in stone, but they're starting to carve.
Yeah.
That Mike's on his way out.
Yeah, so it's like we're saying playoffs, we're saying Broncos playoffs. Yeah, we're all feeling good. You got to get there. It's 100% if you win tonight. And this sort of pressure is what all of those guys in that locker room have wanted. They're not going to shy away. We've talked about Bo Butterflies. There's no Bo Butterflies tonight on prime time. It's a national audience. You could call it the adults table, right?
Kids table.
The cool kids table. Even better, because not all the adults are cool.
No, a lot of them aren't.
When you get to sit at the adults table and then you're like, whoa.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like, wait a minute. I always looked up to you, and this is what you're talking about?
Aunt Penny's a little crazy. Okay. Yeah. Right? Like, okay. That's kind of what you get, right?
That's a fun moment, though, as like a teenager, right? Or like a 16, 17-year-old, and literally you're like, I looked up to that person my entire life?
You're way more messed up than I am.
Right? Yeah. Like, no wonder my dad says that stuff when you leave.
But the Broncos, they are at the cool kids table, so bring your lunch tray over or your dinner tray, whatever you're doing tonight. Have some fun, and let's go Broncos. And let's go Cortland Sutton in breaking routes. 15-yard in breaking routes. Move the chains.
I like that.
And if they are behind the chains, because we talked about the ground game, we'll get more into that. Let's say it's 3rd and 8. Oh, God bless America. It's 3rd and 8. They didn't get it done. Run that 15-yard in breaking route. Court's going to get it for you.
You also have to slow the Chargers down. They started really fast in that last week. Bo's interception, field goal. Turn another possession into a touchdown. You're up 10-0 after 1. Sean Payton talked about how quick the Chargers start.
Yeah, and these guys are a fast-starting team. These guys' point differential in the first quarter is better than ours. Yeah, I think that's important.
So start fast, 10-0 after 1, 20-0 after 2, and then we told you the Broncos started to score some points in that fourth quarter, but it was too little too late. That makes me a little nervous, Cease, for this one, because we know the Broncos, they don't really commit to running the ball. They're not confident in their running back ability. So if you find yourself down again, it was the same case in that Week 6 game. It's why we talked about them being 3 for 11 on third down, because they were chasing points, throwing the football so much that you're looking at 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9, 3rd and 10 more often than not. They can't fall back double 2 scores to these Chargers, or else we're going to see that repeat itself, and Sean will start to chase with a bunch of pass plays.
Yep, Sean will start getting his feelings about it's not working, so I got to pass, and that's. Listen, you can supplement the ground game with the passing game. We saw it forever with Tom Brady. We saw it forever with Julian Edelman or Danny Amendola. I know his name's Danny. Or Wes Welker. We've seen that forever. Oh, you're not really going to run the ball effectively. Just use these short passes.
Yeah.
Okay, that's Marvin Mims. It can be Devon Vele on more of like a drag route, and he's getting better at running routes. I will say that. He hasn't caught but only one pass this month. I want that to change. I'm not saying first pass to Devon Vele, but first pass to Devon Vele.
That's how it worked in Week 6. That they threw the ball to him on the first drive over and over. It's like freaking Marshawn Lynch running the ball, man. That's how they went with
over and
Devon.
over and.
And we talked about zone beaters.
Yeah.
I think Devon is a part of that especially if you're, all right, he starts on the right side of the field. He's going to run across that zone. Now, he and Bo need to be on the same page where you can pick apart from linebacker to left cornerback.
Yep.
There's that spot where Devon's still running. Like we talked about with Bo's accuracy, you hit him on the right shoulder pad, not the right side, the correct shoulder pad.
Right.
He's going to be able to turn and gain against the zone.
Now, there is one problem with zone beaters.
What's that?
Get your hands up. Get your hands up. If we ever play basketball and we're like playing 5-on-5, you know what I'm going to say when the team brings the ball down? Get your hands up. Get your hands up, everybody, because on a zone beater, it's going to be quick.
Yep.
You're not going to sack Bo Nix. You're just not. Maybe, what's the number, 2?
That's what he got in the last game.
Okay,
yeah.
so you're going to get 2 sacks against Bo Nix. Congrats. That's not going to do anything. But if your batted passes are more than your sacks, that's a problem for the Broncos. So we're talking about timing and rhythm. We're talking about short stuff and maybe emotion in, and here comes Devon Vele. Yeah, that's great. Until they just go like this. I'm putting my hands up for radio purposes. And hi on the camera. Hi, YouTube. How's it going? Put your hands up, knock the pass, knock it down. That's what Tommy Jackson would always say. So that's a problem if that becomes the clear intent for this team. It's always going to be short stuff. They're going to dink and dunk their way down the field. That's awesome. Just make sure Bo, who's had some problems with batted passes before,
He has.
make sure that doesn't rear its ugly head tonight.
I believe he's top 3 or 4 in the NFL with batted passes right now. So certainly have to keep an eye on that. Nick Bonitto, we know he has had an outstanding game. He's got touchdowns in 2 consecutive games. Be absolutely insane if he did it again on the defensive side. But how about this? Why don't they just throw him as a fullback and turn around like Refrigerator Bonitto? Just let him score a touchdown on the offensive side this week.
Okay.
Just keep the streak alive.
Yeah, I like it. I get him another touchdown. That's awesome. I would put Nick Bonitto at tight end.
Oh, he's got the frame for it.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, because at fullback, you kind of want the tubby guys in there, and he's not that. So, Nick Bonitto at tight end. Wouldn't mind seeing that. A little crazy talk.
We've seen the speed. He turns it on when he gets the ball in his hands.
Oh, yeah, for sure, man. And Nick Bonitto, an impact player, and against a Justin Herbert that has an ankle injury. You're going to have an ankle injury, and you're going to have the pinchers of Jonathan Cooper and Nick Bonitto getting after you.
Well, think about that, too. We've talked about how the Chargers offense lacks playmakers.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Now you have a Gus Edwards, a tight end. Now you have to chip, which slows down the route. Then it gives the interior defensive lineman more time to put pressure on Justin Herbert.
Yes.
The dude's been outstanding this year, Justin Herbert. He doesn't turn the football over. But you can get some pressure on him and slow down his check down running back or his tight end, their zone beater. Then
Stone Smart.
It could be Stone Smart. There it is. It could be a thing where he starts to force it or reach a little bit, and then he turns the ball over.
You know what's crazy? He's got 2 picks this year.
Yeah.
What if he had 2 tonight? I mean, it's crazy. I don't think he does. I'm not projecting it. Don't at me, bro.
But I wonder if, is it because he's not taking any chances or they just don't run the ball or throw the ball?
Yeah, they don't throw the ball. I mean, it's Jim Harbaugh. He wants to run the ball and 3 yards in a cloud of dust. Gus Edwards can't even get the 3 yards.
No. They were running the ball at a 44% rate with J.K. Dobbins. It's down to 33% with Gus Edwards.
Yeah. So they're trying, but they don't have the playmakers. And they've spent the picks, like Quentin Johnston's a former first-round pick, and he's okay, but he's not, taking over. He's not Jamar Chase or whatever. So, like, they're going to try, but when you've got the rush, and do you feel better today? I always like taking where's your emotions at today? Where's your energy at today? Because John Franklin Myers is going to play.
Yeah.
That was a concern for you yesterday. It was a concern for me as well, maybe less so, but like you were really concerned by that.
Well, because it was just weird with the one's an estimation, then 2 DMPs, and you're like, we said it like he's a vet and doesn't need all of that to actually show up and make an impact, and it looks like that's going to be the case. So, yeah, I would have been worried. I would have been. I was going to say not worried or concerned, but yeah, I would have been worried had JFM not been able to go. DJ Jones has been good in his spot duty, but he is dealing with the finger injury, and that's a real pain in the butt, and you're going to be hand fighting for 60 straight minutes there, so it would have been a little worrisome for me. We saw how, now, in my opinion, Zach Allen's more important than JFM. They're both very important.
Yeah, they're both up there.
If I were doing the pecking order, it'd be 1 Zach, 2 JFM.
Sure.
And we saw what this team looked like without a Zach Allen. I don't want to see what they look like without a John Franklin Myers.
Agreed. And there is a Marvin Mims on defense. Do you know who it is?
No.
It's PJ Locke.
Oh, okay.
So tell me PJ Locke's box score at the end of the game, and I will tell you if the Broncos won or not. Because you mentioned that Stone Smart or Gus Edwards is going to have to chip.
Yeah.
Well, when you chip, you run a limited route tree or a delayed route tree. The pass rush is going to get there, or the middle pressure because JFM is playing.
Yeah.
So my mind goes, okay, you're going to have to expect the short stuff, and it's going to have to be wherever your route combination is at. Who's the best on this team at reading route combinations, not named Pat Surtain? Who's the best on this team at understanding down and distance and, they're going to run that double route? Okay, that's PJ Locke. So just like Marvin Mims, if you tell me what Marvin Mims does tonight, I'll tell you if the Broncos won or not. If you tell me what PJ Locke did, and Justin Herbert does not throw interceptions, but if PJ gets one tonight, do not be surprised. His play will be paramount for the Broncos defense because of how they're going to have to play it. Oh, my God, I'm under pressure. I got to throw it now. Oh, crap, PJ Locke picked me off.
All right, so I'll give you the interception you just asked for, but I'll also say he gives up a touchdown and has 1 PBU.
The sarcastic side of me, I would say smartass. And as my mom used to say, being a smartass is better than being a dumbass. But the sarcastic part of me goes, who in the world is he throwing a touchdown to?
Well, I get it, but you know, we saw like the Brock Bowers, PJ Locke fell down
Sure.
Like,
all right. So what is it? What's the number again? You got the pick. Okay.
Also gives up a touchdown and has a PBU.
How many tackles?
Let's say 7.
Ooh, that's way too many. If he has 7 tackles, they're losing.
Because they're getting the second,
because it's downfield.
level.
Yeah, it's downfield. Give me that number. Do the office space about. How about the 4?
Okay.
Give me 4 tackles for PJ Locke, 1 PBU, 1 pick, 1 touchdown allowed. They win.
They win.
Yep.
All right, I got the numbers for Marvin Mims. 65 yards combined offensively, receiving and running, whatever he gets to.
Yeah.
Add another 65 on special teams.
They win.
Okay.
Marvin Mims, PJ Locke. Obviously, what you get from PS2 is outstanding. It's going to be the greatest ever. And, Cortland Sutton on those deep in-breaking routes. Like, honestly, when Sean Payton said what he said, the game I was thinking of wasn't week 6. It was week 7. Week 7 was the New Orleans game.
Oh, that's right. That's
that
last
was
Thursday night.
0 targets for Cortland Sutton. So I'm saying, what if they had done a New Orleans game plan? And by the way, that was 10 rushes for 75 yards for Bo Nix. We'll get to our prop predictions soon. But, what if they ran that sort of comfortable? He was so comfortable. He was in the zone.
Yeah.
Might have been the best game plan he's had all year, minus the no targets for Cortland Sutton. But, what if you take the New Orleans game plan, but you add Cortland Sutton, and now you add Marvin Mims?
Right.
Wow. Wow. I mean, I want it to be sports boring tonight.
You know what you just described? And it would be
that?
the first time that we've seen it with
What's that?
Bo Nix and the Broncos. A full, complete game. That's what you just described. A full, complete game from the offense, from the defense, and from special teams. And we haven't got that yet. And they have 9 wins, and we haven't got that yet.
Man, who's cutting onions? I'm getting emotional here, man. Imagine that. Imagine against a playoff opponent you play your first complete game.
Be really, really nice to see.
Does that mean running the ball?
That's a part of it, yeah.
I mean, maybe
That's a part of it.
if Marvin's a part of that, I still don't think they're going to run the ball, and that sucks. Audric Estime should get 15 carries tonight, but, I mean, I'm just not.
He'll get 7.
He'll get 4.
Yeah, 7 is a big number too, right?
7?
We talked about the game being prime time. Obviously, we know they agreed to be flexed into it. First time ever they've gone into a Thursday night flex. Sean Payton was asked if he has to talk to his players about their decision to make the flex.
No, I think, listen, I just tell them, hey, get used to it. That's what we're looking for. They'll tell us when we're playing, where we're playing, and then we'll get ready to play. Yeah, I think that they get that. They understand that. And I think they're excited about playing another national TV game. And every one of these guys has got 100 people that are a part of why they're here. Teachers, coaches, parents, cousins, aunts, uncles. Everyone has a different group of 100, but that'll all be watching and feeling like they played a small part or a large part. And so, you're playing for those people.
I really like that from Sean. I really like that. And again, we said it yesterday. Of course, he flexes in it. He doesn't have to play. His body's not on the line.
Right.
He's got to do a lot of mental work, but he doesn't turn that off anyway. But I like that little insight of like, hey, everybody here has 100 people that affected their story. And that's something that, look, I will tell you this as before I got into this business and you're just a fan and you're going crazy and you're screaming at the television every week. I didn't really care about the stories, right? I'm like, give me the big hits. I'm going on NFL.com Monday morning. I want to see who got jacked up. That's what I'm watching for.
Right.
Now you get into this and you do know some people and learn a little bit about how the sausage is made. Like, that part's cool.
Yeah.
There are 100 people that have their hand on or affected somehow every player that calls the Broncos their football team. And now they get to watch it in Cincinnati and Hawaii and wherever, in Indianapolis and Grover. You get to go and watch your guy play on a national stage. It's really cool, man.
It is awesome, man. It is awesome. By the way, you just said you were rooting for brain injuries.
I mean,
You got jacked up.
At one point, we all were.
I
I'm just
know.
not afraid to admit it.
At one point, the NFL sold DVDs
Right.
of the greatest hits, which were all brain bruises.
Mm-hmm. Have you noticed the Pat McAfee show started to do some of the big hits again?
Really?
Like they did. I don't know how, we have it on sometimes in studio and you kind of looking over and see it, but I've seen them a couple of times through the year doing, now they're not like they were. It's a big legal hit that they're showing. You would see in the past, like guys literally blindside getting their head taken off.
Yeah.
They do the legal stuff, but they've started to show some more of the big hits.
People want the violence.
That's what football is.
I know. You're never going to legislate the violence completely out of this game.
No. Go to a hockey game and see how many people are sitting down when there's two dudes fighting. You don't think people like this stuff?
They like it a lot.
They absolutely like it a lot. We'll give official scores, but see, let's tell them right now. I mean, the Broncos are winning this game. I'm picking the Broncos to win this game. They punch their playoff ticket tonight.
It happens. The number goes from 91 to 100%.
Mm-hmm.
The Broncos are in the postseason with a win tonight. We'll give you the score later, but we're not going to make you wait around.
They get the dub.
They're winning.
It's happening tonight. They go to the postseason with 100% certainty.